She said she'd be home by 10. I found her half naked in a parking garage. So here's my nightmare of a story. I've been married to my wife, Jenna 32, for 8 years. I'm 35. We have 2 kids, 5 and 7, and if you asked anyone a month ago, they'd tell you we were the picture-perfect family. The kind that posts smiling Christmas photos on Instagram with matching pajamas and captions like, "My forever love." Yeah, well, turns out my forever love was busy riding someone else's sleigh. It all started at her company's Christmas party last December. She told me she'd be back by 10 p.m. "Don't wait up, babe, just put the kids to bed. I'll Uber home if I have a drink or two." She smiled and kissed me on the cheek like she always does, but there was this tiny flicker in her eyes, a kind of excitement that wasn't meant for me. At the time I brushed it off. I trusted her. Hell, I'm the kind of husband who has dinner ready, does bath time, and makes sure the kids have their pajamas warm from the dryer. Meanwhile, she gets to glam up in a red dress and heels and be the fun one. I never thought for a second that while I was tucking our kids in, she'd be pulling her panties off in an office parking garage. The first sign was her promise, "I'll be back by 10. Spoiler alert, 10 came and went. At 10:30 I called. She picked up, slurring, giggling, "Hey babe, come pick me up. I'm so drunk." Already my stomach dropped. Why did I have to pick her up if she was with coworkers? Who lets their married coworker call her husband like that instead of just making sure she gets in an Uber? Something didn't sit right. So I asked our elderly neighbor Mrs. Clark if she could watch the kids for a bit. She gave me this knowing look like she'd seen this story 100 times before and said, "Go get her. Don't worry about the little ones." I got in my car, drove to her work downtown and prayed I was overthinking. But deep down, I knew something ugly was waiting for me in that parking lot. I got to her office around 11 p.m., way past the time she promised she'd be home. The building looked like a ghost town. Most of the party people were long gone, just a few stragglers hanging around. I walked inside, scanning the empty lobby, and found some drunk guy sitting on the floor leaning against the wall. His tie was loose, his shirt half untucked. I asked him, "Hey, have you seen Jenna?" He gave me this lazy smirk and said, "Oh yeah. Paul drove her home." Home. That word hit me like a punch to the chest. Home was my job. If anyone was driving her home, it was supposed to be me. Something about the way he said it, all smug and sloppy, set off alarms in my head. I headed down to the underground parking garage anyway, figuring maybe she'd just gone to grab something from her car before leaving. The garage was mostly empty, only 2 cars left. The echo of my footsteps made the place feel like a damn horror movie set. Then I heard it. At first it was faint, then unmistakable. Soft, rhythmic moans. A woman's voice. Her voice. I followed the sound, heart racing, until I came up to a shiny black Mercedes parked in the corner. The windows were fogged up, but not enough to hide what was going on inside. And there she was. My wife, Jenna. Her dress bunched up around her waist, no underwear, heels still on, her head thrown back against the leather seat. A younger guy, early 20s, maybe mid-20s tops, was between her thighs, moving like he owned her. Her underwear was just lying there on the concrete floor, discarded like trash. I froze. Time slowed down. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. My wife, the mother of my kids, the woman who kissed me goodbye hours earlier, was in another man's car with her legs spread, moaning like she never moaned for me. I felt sick. My stomach twisted into knots, my hands shook. Part of me wanted to rip that door open and drag her out, screaming. Another part wanted to collapse right there on the cold garage floor. Instead, I just stood there watching my whole marriage burn to the ground through a fogged-up Mercedes window. And the worst part? She looked happy. Ecstatic. Like she was exactly where she wanted to be. I don't even remember making the decision. One second I was frozen outside that damn Mercedes, the next I was yanking the passenger door open so hard it banged against the concrete wall. The young guy jumped like a scared rabbit, fumbling to pull his pants up. Jenna screamed my name, her face going pale, then blotchy red. She scrambled, yanking her dress down, covering herself like that would erase what I'd just seen. "Chris, wait, it's not what it looks like," she stammered. "Not what it looks like." My wife, half naked, her panties on the garage floor, with some 20-something's hands still between her thighs. I barked out a laugh, the kind of laugh that comes from somewhere dark and broken. "Then what the hell is it, Jenna? Enlighten me." She slid out of the car on shaky legs and dropped straight to her knees on the cold concrete, sobbing, clutching at my jeans like she was praying. "Please, Chris, I was drunk. I don't even know how this happened. Please don't leave me." The guy muttered something about, "Sorry, man," and bolted, leaving her there, kneeling at my feet, mascara streaked down her cheeks. You promised me, Jenna, I said, my voice shaking. You promised me you'd be back by 10. You promised me you'd never hurt me like this. I swear it didn't mean anything, she cried, grabbing my hands. I don't even like him. I was just stupid, okay? You've been so distant lately and I felt lonely and… There it was. The excuse. Somehow my fault. You felt lonely so you spread your legs in a parking garage? I snapped. With a kid who probably can't even rent a car yet? She wailed harder, pressing her forehead against my thigh. Please, please don't tell anyone. Don't tell my parents, don't tell yours. I'll do anything, Chris. I'll never drink again, I'll quit my job, And in that moment I realized, she wasn't crying because she hurt me. She was crying because she got caught. Standing over her, watching her beg and lie and twist the blame, all I felt was this cold emptiness. Like someone had scooped out my chest and left nothing but rage and silence. I didn't sleep that night. I drove us home in silence while Jenna sobbed in the passenger seat, trying every excuse she could think of. It was the alcohol. He pressured me. It was just this once. I was lonely. I love you, not him. Every sentence contradicted the last. Every word made me feel like I was drowning. When we got home, I walked straight past her and checked on the kids. They were asleep, curled up like little angels. My chest hurt just looking at them, knowing what their mother had done. Jenna followed me into the bedroom, fell to her knees again, clutching my hands, crying so hard she could barely breathe. Chris, I swear I'll do anything. Please don't take the kids from me. Please don't tell your mom, she'll hate me. I'll quit my job tomorrow. Just let us move past this. And I wanted to believe her. God help me, I wanted to. I sat there on the edge of the bed, staring at my wedding photo on the dresser. Me in a tux, her in white lace, smiling like she meant forever. I thought, maybe we can fix this. Maybe it was just a drunken mistake. Maybe if I forgive her, the pain will fade. So for the next few days I tried. I let her cling to me, let her kiss my hands, let her promise 1,000 times that it was over. I told myself it was better for the kids if we stayed together. But the cracks kept spreading. Her phone would light up late at night. She'd jump and flip it over. When I asked, she'd say it was just work. When I checked the phone bill, there were dozens of calls to Paul. When I confronted her, she burst into tears again. It was just to tell him it's over. I didn't want you to worry. And then there were whispers from her coworkers. A friend of mine who worked near her company told me she'd been close with Paul for months. Secret lunches, long coffee breaks, inside jokes. So it wasn't just one drunken mistake. It was a slow burn betrayal hidden under my nose. One night, when I came home early, I found her in the bathroom, phone in hand, whispering, "I miss you too." When she saw me, she dropped to her knees again, sobbing, swearing it was just a goodbye call. That's when it hit me. I wasn't living with a wife anymore. I was living with a liar who had no intention of stopping. And no matter how much she cried, begged, or promised, the love I had for her was dying. Once you catch a cheater, the truth doesn't just drip out. It comes flooding. And man, Jenna's closet was full of skeletons. A week after the incident, I finally cracked her phone. She changed the password, but I know her too well. Pro tip: if you've been married 8 years, you know your spouse's backup codes. What I found made my knees buckle. This thing with Paul wasn't new. It had been going on for months. Messages back and forth, flirty at first, then downright graphic. She told him things she never told me. Called him her escape. Told him I was boring, that I didn't see her anymore. Worse, she wasn't just talking to him. There were other names too. A string of late-night chats with an old flame from college. A hidden Snapchat account with messages to a coworker whose name I'd never even heard. And then there was the money. She'd been siphoning little bits of our joint account for months. Fancy lunches, hotel bookings, lingerie I never saw. Thousands gone. I confronted her, phone in hand. She dropped straight to the floor again, sobbing, clutching my legs. "Chris, please, it wasn't real. They meant nothing. You're my husband, I love you," I shouted. "Then why does it look like you're building a whole second life without me?" Her excuses spilled out like vomit. It was just attention. I felt invisible. They flirted first. I never loved them. It's not who I am. But here's the kicker. When I told my parents, they weren't even surprised. My mom said quietly, "Honey, I always thought Jenna was restless." My dad just muttered, "Once a liar, always a liar." Her family, though, whole different story. Her mother called me hysterical. "You're overreacting. Every marriage has mistakes." Her father, a smug piece of work, actually said, "If you were more of a man, she wouldn't need anyone else." That was it. The rage in me turned cold, calculated. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was war. After her dad threw that little jab, "If you were more of a man," something inside me snapped. The crying, the lies, the excuses, her family circling the wagons for her like I was the villain? No, not anymore. So I stopped arguing. I stopped yelling. I stopped crying. I went cold. And Jenna mistook it for forgiveness. She thought the storm had passed. Meanwhile, I was documenting everything. Every text, every email, every late-night call log. Screenshots. Voice recordings. I even set up an old iPhone in the bedroom as a hidden mic when she thought I was at work, and caught her whispering to Paul about how she couldn't wait to feel him again. I started moving money too. Separate account in my name only. Froze the joint credit card. Canceled her business trips. And then I got creative. Remember that Christmas party? Yeah, it turns out the Mercedes had security cameras in the garage. One polite request and a flash of my driver's license later, I had the footage. My wife heels in the air, moaning in some kid's car. Crystal clear. The first time I watched it, I almost puked. The second time, I saved a copy to a secure drive. By the third time, I wasn't watching it as a broken husband. I was watching it like a man planning a demolition. Jenna, meanwhile, was in full panic mode. She'd kneel on the kitchen floor at night, sobbing, swearing she'd change. She quit makeup for a week, saying, "See, I don't care about looks anymore." She deleted Instagram, saying, "No more attention seeking." She even tried to initiate sex with me constantly, as if that would glue the pieces back together. But the thing about cheaters is they don't change. They perform. And I wasn't buying tickets to her show anymore. Instead, I started plotting the endgame. Not just divorce. Exposure. Humiliation. I wanted everyone who thought Jenna was perfect to see what she really was. And Christmas dinner with both families coming up? Let's just say I was about to give everyone the gift of truth. Christmas dinner was at my parents' place that year. Big table, ham, wine, the works. Both families were there. My mom and dad, my brother and his wife, Jenna's parents, even her younger sister who'd flown in from out of state. I sat there sipping my drink, heart pounding, while Jenna played the perfect wife. She laughed at my dad's jokes, complimented my mom's cooking, helped set the table like nothing was wrong. She was good at it, so good that if I didn't know better, I would have believed her. But I knew. And I had proof. Halfway through dinner, when the conversation lulled, I stood up. "Hey everyone," I said, holding up my glass. "I've got something to share." Jenna smiled nervously, thinking I was about to toast to family. Instead, I pulled a small remote from my pocket and clicked. My dad's TV flickered on. And there it was. The parking garage footage. My wife in Paul's Mercedes, her red dress hiked up, her underwear on the ground, moaning for someone who wasn't me. The room went dead silent. Jenna's fork clattered to the plate. Her mother gasped. My mom whispered, "Oh my God." Jenna dropped to her knees right there in front of everyone, sobbing, crawling toward me. "Chris, please. Please turn it off. Please don't do this, not in front of the kids." Her dad barked, "Turn that filth off, you bastard." I looked him dead in the eye and said, "This is your daughter. Not mine. Not anymore." Jenna grabbed my leg, mascara streaking down her face. "I'll change. I'll go to therapy. I'll quit my job. I'll cut off everyone. Please, Chris, please don't leave me." Her sister muttered, "Jesus, Jenna?" while my brother whispered, "Holy shit." My mom started crying. My dad clenched his jaw, fists tight, like he wanted to throw Jenna's father out of the house. And me? I just stood there, calm as ice. "I wanted you all to see what she is. I'm filing for divorce." Then I walked out, leaving her wailing on the floor, her family stunned, mine heartbroken but relieved that the truth was finally out. That night, Jenna blew up my phone with calls and texts, begging, threatening, promising, sobbing. I didn't answer a single one. The day after the meltdown, I called a divorce lawyer. I walked into his office with a thumb drive full of screenshots, bank statements, call logs, and, of course, the parking garage footage. He didn't even blink. Just nodded slowly and said, "You've got her. This will be easy." That was the first moment in weeks where I felt like I could breathe. Meanwhile, Jenna was unraveling. She showed up at my work during lunch break, makeup smeared, clutching a crumpled letter like it was the Bible. She fell to her knees in front of everyone in the parking lot, crying, "Chris, please don't do this. I'll sign anything, just don't take the kids." I had to peel her hands off me in front of half my coworkers. The humiliation she caused herself that day? Almost poetic. But then the lies started. She told her parents I was abusive, that I'd forced her to confess, that I was controlling, that I'd set her up to make her look bad. Her mom even called me, screaming that she would fight for Jenna's dignity. I just laughed bitterly and told her, check your daughter's bank statements. Then she tried to weaponize the kids. She told them, Daddy doesn't love Mommy anymore, like I was the one who walked out on us. My oldest, bless his heart, asked her, then why were you kissing that man in the car? Yeah. She hadn't realized the kids had overheard her late night sobbing on the phone. Children see more than we think. My lawyer filed immediately, divorce, full custody request, child support. I wanted the kids safe, stable. I wasn't about to let them grow up thinking their mom's chaos was normal. The day she got served, she called me 37 times. The last voicemail was her sobbing so hard she couldn't breathe, whispering, Chris, you're killing me. But the truth? She'd already killed what we had a long time ago. I was just burying it. Filing the divorce wasn't enough. I'll admit it, I wanted blood. I wanted everyone who had ever seen Jenna as the perfect wife, the perfect mom, to know exactly what she'd been doing behind my back. So I started talking. Quietly at first, a word to her boss, by the way, to a few of her close friends. Then I dropped the bomb in the office group chat. Screenshots of her messages with Paul and a short clip from the parking garage camera. Nothing pornographic but damning enough. The fallout was nuclear. Her boss called me personally, we can't keep her on staff after this. It's a liability. Within a week, Jenna was unemployed. Her so-called friends? Half blocked her. The other half sent me messages like, I'm so sorry, I had no idea. One even admitted Jenna had been hitting on her husband at a barbecue. The final strike came at church. Jenna had always played the role of the good Christian wife there, singing in the choir, bringing cookies to Sunday school. I forwarded the footage to the pastor. The next Sunday, people wouldn't even look at her. Her mother stormed out in tears. Jenna called me afterward, hysterical. You've ruined me. Everyone hates me. You've taken everything from me. I told her calmly, no, Jenna, you ruined yourself. I just pulled back the curtain. And here's the thing, I didn't even enjoy it the way I thought I would. Watching her world collapse wasn't satisfying, it was tragic. But at the same time it was justice. She built her image on lies. All I did was shine a light. By the end of that month, Jenna was unemployed, friendless, living back with her parents. She went from strutting around in designer dresses to sitting in sweatpants, crying in her childhood bedroom. And for the first time since that night in the parking garage, I felt free. You'd think after destroying Jenna's facade and filing for divorce I'd feel triumphant, right? Like I'd won. But the truth is, I didn't feel like a winner at all. At first I felt hollow. Then bitter. Everywhere I looked, I saw couples holding hands, smiling, laughing, and it twisted a knife in me. I couldn't stand the sight of wedding rings. I'd catch myself staring at strangers' hands, wondering which one of them was secretly lying, sneaking around, waiting to betray. It made me angry in ways I didn't even recognize. A kind of feral anger. At Jenna, sure. But also at myself. For trusting her. For building my whole damn identity around being a good husband and dad, while she was out in parking garages with kids who couldn't even afford full coverage insurance. Nights were the worst. Lying in bed alone, I'd hear echoes of her moans, but not the ones she ever made with me. The ones I heard outside that Mercedes. That sound burned into me like acid. I'd replay it against my will, like a highlight reel my brain wouldn't stop showing me. I tried to numb it. Drinking too much. Throwing myself into work until I was half dead from exhaustion. At one point I almost called her, not because I wanted her back but because I hated how much space she still took up in my head. The kids kept me alive. On the nights I wanted to put a fist through the wall, my son would come in with his blanket and whisper, Dad, can I sleep here? And I'd remember I couldn't collapse completely. Not yet. Still I was cracked. Bitter. Jealous of every man who hadn't seen his wife's panties on a garage floor. Every couple who still believed in forever. And that was the ugliest truth of all. She hadn't just betrayed me. She'd poisoned my faith in love itself. I hit rock bottom one night in February. I was sitting alone in the kitchen at 2 a.m., half a bottle of whiskey gone, staring at the divorce papers like they were written in another language. My hands were shaking, my chest tight, and I thought, is this it? Is this all that's left of me? That's when my mom called. She said she just had a feeling to check in. Moms always know. I broke down on the phone, sobbing like a kid, telling her I didn't know who I was anymore. She listened, quiet, then said, Chris, you gave Jenna everything. You worked hard, you loved her, you took care of those kids. She threw it away. That doesn't make you less of a man, it makes her less of a woman. Don't let her failure define your life. That was my turning point. I signed up for therapy the next morning. And for the first time, I started talking about the betrayal without choking on it. My therapist told me something that stuck. Healing isn't about erasing the pain. It's about building something stronger around it. So I started building. I joined a boxing gym. First time I hit a heavy bag, I thought my knuckles would split, but every punch felt like I was driving the poison out. I dusted off my guitar, the one I hadn't touched in years, and started playing again. Late nights, instead of whiskey and self-pity, it was chords and calluses. And I planned something for myself, something bold, a solo hiking trip out west. Just me, the mountains, and silence. No phone blowing up with lies, no fake smiles across the dinner table, no more echoes of betrayal. For the first time in months, I felt a flicker of something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Recovery didn't come in a straight line. Some days I felt strong, like I was finally free. Other days I'd see a couple holding hands at the grocery store and feel that bitterness surge back, like bile in my throat. But the difference now? I had direction. The boxing gym became my second home. I dropped 20 pounds, carved muscle I hadn't seen since college, and for the first time in years, when I looked in the mirror I didn't see a broken man, I saw someone fighting his way back. My hiking trip out west was the real breakthrough. I stood on top of a ridge in Colorado, wind in my face, and realized I hadn't thought about Jenna in hours. The silence wasn't heavy anymore. There was peace. Of course, Jenna couldn't stand that I was moving on. She kept trying to worm her way back into my life. First through guilt, "Chris, the kids need us together." Then through pity, "I can't find work, I'm broke, please help me." She even showed up at my boxing gym once, mascara streaked, begging in front of everyone. She dropped to her knees, crying, promising she'd changed. The guys there just shook their heads, one of them muttered, "Pathetic." And that's exactly what it was, pathetic. I felt nothing. No urge to forgive, no urge to scream. Just cold indifference. Meanwhile, her family kept calling me a monster. Her dad actually said, "You'll regret this." No real man tears his family apart. But my family? My mom told me she was proud. My dad hugged me, which he almost never does, and said, "You're better off, son. Way better off." And deep down, I finally believed them. For the first time, I was living for me. The divorce dragged for months, but the outcome was never in doubt. My lawyer had a mountain of evidence: the texts, the bank withdrawals, the video. Jenna's lawyer looked like he wanted to crawl under the desk half the time. When it was all said and done, I got primary custody of the kids. Jenna got visitation supervised at first. She tried to fight it, but every time she opened her mouth, her own lies contradicted her. The judge even told her straight up, "You have a credibility problem, ma'am." Financially, I came out clean too. Since she'd blown thousands of our joint money on hotels and work trips, the court deducted that from her share. She left the courtroom with little more than her clothes and a broken reputation. The final day we signed the papers, she cornered me in the hallway, eyes red, shaking. She grabbed my hand, dropped to her knees like always, and whispered, "Chris, please. You're my husband. You're my only love. I'll never stop loving you." I pulled my hand back, looked her dead in the eyes. "You don't love me, Jenna. You just hate being alone." She broke down sobbing right there in front of everyone. Her parents tried to console her, but even they looked drained, like they'd finally realized what she really was. Meanwhile, I walked out of that courthouse lighter than I'd felt in years. The chain was gone. The kids adapted better than I feared. Sure, there were hard nights with tears and questions, but they settled into the routine. And I made a promise to myself: I'd never let them think Jenna's chaos was normal love. By spring, my house felt like a home again. No lies buzzing in the dark, no mascara-streaked begging, no weight in my chest every time my phone lit up. Just me, my kids, and peace. It's been a year since that Christmas party. A year since I found my wife's underwear on the cold concrete floor of a parking garage. Feels like a lifetime. Looking back, I see now that I wasn't just betrayed by a woman, I was freed from an illusion. I gave Jenna everything: loyalty, stability, love, a family. And she threw it away for cheap thrills in the backseat of a car. For months I asked myself, was I not enough? Was I boring? Too safe? Too predictable? But here's what therapy and time taught me: it was never about me. It was about her emptiness, her need for attention, her inability to be satisfied with what she already had. She was weak, and she mistook my strength for something she could exploit. If you're reading this and going through something similar, here's my advice. Don't ignore your gut. Those little signs aren't so little. Get proof. Document everything. Cheaters lie like they breathe. Facts matter. Don't let them flip the script. They'll cry, beg, accuse, blame. None of it changes what they did. Protect yourself legally and financially. A good lawyer is worth more than 10 broken promises. Don't let bitterness eat you alive. Yeah, it's natural to hate, to rage, to be jealous of happy couples. But in time you'll realize most of those fairy tales are rotten underneath anyway. Live for yourself. Find a hobby. Take a trip. Get back to who you are without the liar dragging you down. As for me, I've got my kids, my health, and a life that's mine again. I box 3 times a week, I play guitar on the weekends, and I'm planning another hiking trip this summer. Jenna? Last I heard, she's still living with her parents, bouncing between temp jobs, trying to rebuild the image I shattered. I don't care anymore. The best revenge wasn't the video or the public humiliation or the divorce. The best revenge is that I walked away stronger, while she's stuck in the ruins she built for herself. And I'll tell you this, I thought her betrayal was the end of my life. Turns out it was just the beginning of mine.